thank you for joining me today in my inaugural show. I will be here for you boys and girls out there. Pittsburgh Steelers, tried and true. I've been a big fan. 6 or 7 when I moved to Pittsburgh. Don't live there anymore, but I lived there for a good part of my childhood, and they will always be my number one team. Looking forward to a great season. Go ahead and smash that like button for me. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to be reminded when my videos pop up. This is going to be like a transitional year. The dawn of a new era has begun in Pittsburgh land with Ben Roethlisberger no longer a part of the franchise. Thank goodness it was time. I have been waiting for a couple seasons. Now, I take my hat off to you, Benny, for all the stuff that you did for us. But the writing was on the wall, and quite frankly, it is time for a new era to begin. Enter Kenny Pickett from the University of Pittsburgh, the golden child of the Steeler Nation right now. This guy, we don't want to rush him. No, we do not want to rush him into the mix. He will be probably starting off as a third-string quarterback at the start of the season. But if we're in that middle range, but I think we're going to be about a 9-7, like I said, 9-8, 10-7 type of ball club, then we may not see Kenny Pickett much at all this year. We may have to wait till next year on that. But I do think he is the franchise quarterback that we needed. I think Roethlisberger will be replaced very quickly in our hearts and in our minds. I think we can be as good as we were the last couple seasons with Roethlisberger. Probably not any better at that point, but I do think that at this point in the game that I think a new quarterback, either Trubisky, Rudolph, or Pickett, is not going to be much of a downgrade from Roethlisberger. It could be, in fact, a upgrade considering the fact that now we will have a little bit better mobility in the pocket. So go ahead and leave something in the comments. Say hello. Tell me where you're from. I used to grow up in Pittsburgh from like ages 6 to 13, so I love the area. I am no longer in Pittsburgh, but I do watch every game. And I have since I've been, 6 years old. So, and I'll never miss a Pittsburgh Steelers game. Absolutely. What is going down with the Pittsburgh Steelers this year? The offensive line is the biggest concern, in my humble opinion. Will we give the blocking needed for our quarterbacks, Mitch Trubisky, Mason Rudolph, and Kenny Pickett, ample and enough time to make decisions and not turn the ball over? That is going to be the question. Will we be sacked a bunch of times? Will we have to throw the ball away? Will we have enough time as our quarterbacks? Will they have enough time to find the receivers that we do have? And we do have some bangers. Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, and the new guy, I think his name is George Pickens. That kid looks absolutely insane and has a lot of potential, and I'm really looking forward to the season. I believe he is going to be an absolute gem, a diaper dandy, so to speak. We've had our first preseason game, and a lot of talk about the new boy in town, Kenny Pickett, from the University of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. P-I-T-T, Pitt. Kenny Pickett looked sensational in his first game, not throwing an interception, tossing 2 TDs, completing 13 of 15 of his passes. The elephant in the room. Who's going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback right now? Obviously, Mitchell Trubisky is slotted in as the number 1 on the depth chart at the moment. But we have to look at several things here. First of all, how big of a leash will Mitchell Trubisky have? The way I'd like to see it personally is first half of the season, Mitch Trubisky and Mason Rudolph try to see what they can do. I don't want to rush Kenny Pickett right off the bat, so I think they should give the first half of the season to Mitch Trubisky and Mason Rudolph, see which one is the better quarterback. If the Steelers are looking well and in the playoff hunt, stick with those 2 guys for the remainder of the season. Let Kenny Pickett get his chance next season. But if we start off 2-3, 2-4, I think it's time to go to Kenny Pickett. I think, unless we get off to a hot start with Trubisky or Rudolph, it's time to go with the young guy. You drafted him in the first round for that, right? Exactly. Kenny Pickett, the franchise quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers over the next 15 years. I'm going to say yes because I'm optimistic about Kenny Pickett in that regard. Now, go ahead and say, hey, he did it against, non-first-string players in his first game. That is absolutely correct. He did that against backups. So take it with a grain of salt, but he looked promising. Another player that looks absolutely sensational George Pickens, baby. I like the receiving class right now. The top 3 receivers, Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, and George Pickens. That's 3 wide receivers that can go out and get it. And another cat that's been looking pretty nice as well is Gunnar Olszewski. Gunnar Olszewski. Is that how I pronounce it? I hope so. He looks to me like a Wes Welker type of player, not because he's short and white, but because he's quick and looked like he had solid hands in that preseason game. Basically, the Pittsburgh Steelers, what does it boil down to this year? The offensive line, to me, is going to decide if this team is a playoff team. They could even go as high as Super Bowl this year if they have an offensive line that goes out there and dominates the offensive line. I don't think they're going to be there, but if they're at least passable, I can see us being a playoff wild card type of ball club this year. We've got a tough division with Cincinnati, Baltimore, and Cleveland all in the division. It's going to be a rough time there, to say the least. Very tough. Going to have to take care of business in their division to have any chance to make the playoffs this year. Going to have to at least go 500 in the Central. That's what I'm saying right here, and then do well enough in the other games as well. So, Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, looking up and down, we got our fullback Derek Watt, tight end Pat Freiermuth. The questions on the offensive line is where I am very, very concerned. Of course, we got Kevin Dotson, Dan Moore, Mason Cole, James Daniels, and Chukwuma Okorafor. Those guys are going to have to really, really step it up and show me that they are a very competent offensive line in the passing game. Is really where, they're going to need to give Trubisky, Rudolph, or Pickett ample time to make decisions. And we got the receivers. We have the running backs. Now it's time to see what these guys can go out and do. If you look at the running game, obviously Najee Harris, the big stud that he is, it's imperative that he gets off to a nice start and they give him some holes and he's not injured. Those 3 things have to happen. If not, hey, the Pittsburgh's not going anywhere this year. I mean, hell, Anthony McFarland and Benny Snell coming off the bench, those are nice. Even Jalen Warren, those guys I do think could be the offensive line, like I said, is creating holes. All those guys can be effective. But none of those guys are going to be great, not even Najee, if the offensive line does not give him enough room to operate. Now, Najee Harris also pretty good out of the backfield, making receptions, is going to be a very nice option for whoever we have under the helm at quarterback. Pittsburgh is all about defense. We're going to be solid on the defensive end. I really think so this year. If you look at, what we've got here, Miles Jack, the middle linebacker, I'm expecting very nice things out of Miles Jack. Devin Bush, of course, a stud. T.J. Watt on that. And Alex Highsmith. The linebackers are going to be very solid once again. The backfield, we got Cameron Sutton, Minka Fitzpatrick, Terrell Edmonds, Levi Wallace. I think those guys are going to be more than comparable, and I expect the secondary to be quite sufficient this year. Defense will definitely keep the Steelers in many of the games this year. I think it's the offense. If we can keep the turnovers down, be a plus in the turnover category, I like our odds to finish with a playoff berth. We got 17 games this year now. I think a 10-7 year is a good pick for me. I think 10-7, the Steelers go 10-7, and compete for the wild card. That is my humble prediction. We could see a little bit more depending on the quarterback position, quarterback, offensive line. I think those are the 2 spots and overall injuries concerns that we do have across the board. If we stay healthy, the offensive line is competent, and the quarterbacks are not turning the ball over at a high rate, I say Steelers back to the playoffs in 2022. Still got Chris Boswell, a fine kicker. I always feel very confident when he's out there. Presley Harvin III, our massive punter. I like him out there as well. Gunnar Olszewski there, the guy who's going to be doing the kick returns and punt returns. Very interested to see how he does, and I like him in the passing game as well. So 2 more games in the preseason. We have Saturday, August 20th, Jacksonville. And then on August 28th, we've got Detroit. So those 2 games will be the last of the preseason. Heading into the regular season, we start off with Super Bowl runner-up Cincinnati Bengals at Cincinnati. Going to be a tough game. Next up, the New England Patriots. This will be in Pittsburgh. So the two very tough games to start the season. Then we go at Cleveland, another tough game, which I think we can take. I always have confidence against Cleveland. But that right there is going to be a tough. We're going to need to start 2-1 out of those first three games, I think. If not, we should be able to get a win in New York. Cross our fingers, but we know how the Pittsburgh Steelers have done in the past against some struggling teams. Sometimes they tend to play down. Hopefully we can avoid that this season. Now, after that, Buffalo, another tough game. That could be another loss. Let's be honest. Tampa Bay, another tough game. So we're looking at it right now, 2-4, 3-3 maybe, is what I'm seeing in the first 6 games. So it's going to be rough. Miami, it's a tough one. I think they can take Miami as Philadelphia, then the bye week. Then New Orleans, Cincinnati again, Indianapolis, Atlanta, Baltimore, Carolina, Las Vegas, Baltimore, Cleveland. I could see it going either way. I could see us really having a great season and winning, going 12-5, to be honest. I think 12-5 is within reach for this ball club. I think if we have a quarterback in Mitchell Trubisky, Mason Rudolph, or Pickett, just to be serviceable in that offensive line, once again, very big if. But if those things come together, Pittsburgh is going back to the dance, and they could even take the division, my friends. They could take those Bengals back down to where they belong in the conference. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. And that's another Pittsburgh Steeler first down. With that said, folks, go ahead and smash that like button, hit the notification bell, subscribe to that channel, like the video. Thank you, and have a wonderful day, my Steeler Nation.